celebrated and mourned our mother in both San Francisco and New York. And one might think, why LA? Why another gathering? Why LA, aka Beverly Hills? Like Ted and the rest of the Clampetts, California is the place you ought to be, so they loaded up the truck and they moved to Beverly Hills, that is. And this is the place where my mother wanted to be. And I will tell you that this day is for you as much as it is for us and for our mother. We sincerely value you. And this was not an open invitation on Facebook, so if you're in the room right now, it really does mean that you have a connection to my mom, most likely our dad, and us. For you, the nieces and nephews who hosted holiday dinners and family simchas, and for your children who might never know how much love and joy each bar and bat mitzvah and hug filled my mother and dad with love, and for your grandchildren as they made every effort to attend and celebrate every new family member. Today, for her sister-in-law, my Aunt Lily, who shared the memories of an early courtship, you should know how my mother pushed herself to get herself to your special birthday, and how I know the efforts that you went to today to get yourself here. And a belated happy birthday to my Aunt Lily. Happy birthday, Aunt Lily.
102.
And that's what family and friends do. They show up. And for her daughter-in-law and for grandchildren. And for you, for the friends who shared most of her adult life with laughs and tears that I could not and I should not know, because your memories and your joys and my mom's kvetching were between her and her friends. And a mother-daughter relationship is just that. But you're the friends. You're the friends who remembered her birthday, who heard her complaints, and you were there to support my mother. And we are very, very appreciative of your presence. If you knew me, you knew my parents. So to my friends, you can just wave. The friends that are, okay. So to my friends who met my parents, were guests in their home, and shared your families with my parents, I say thank you. My mom and dad welcomed each and every pal on both coasts. And fortunately, my brother was there not too long ago for a New York memorial where 20 years of friendships, and when I asked who had met my parents, every hand went up. My parents welcomed each and every pal brought into their life and followed their life cycle events as well. There is family, and there are friends who become your family, who are there when your husband has a heart attack, when your children are born, when your daughter hits not one but two parked cars. Over the years, not so good. When your son moves and lives in Israel, before email, before cell phones, before FaceTime. I don't know why I'm mentioning that. You all know that. Probably had children. And the aerograms that would come from my brother in Israel, that was their communication, the blue aerogram that folded in thirds. I think I know my audience. You know that. Anyway. When your children got married, when you lose weight, gain weight, lose weight again, and when you fundraise. And if you knew my mother, you would surely have followed her from Hadassah to Tel HaShomer to Haven House. And no need for tax credits or no need for tax records here, but just a little wave. If you ever wrote a check for any organization that my mother was in, just a little wave here. Okay. All right, very good. And thank you. To the many, many organizations that she represented, if she knew your number, she would call you And so many of you answered. And why not? Why wouldn't you? She fought the good fight. So her victories and her triumphs are yours. And her parties and fundraising events were fantastic. And you too, you should be proud for every check that you have written over the years. And now, even after her death, as donations have come to Sutter, she is still a fundraiser. And for every tea and every banquet that you attended, we thank you. And every hat that you've worn. And I see that there are a lot of hats here today. My mother was a loyal friend, a tenacious fundraiser, and an advocate for women and children. And she would break all boundaries because she never knew what that meant to do for her friends. And I am so my mother's daughter. So recently I was invited to a book signing that would take place in London from one of my mother's friends. And I couldn't attend, so I sent that invitation to a friend that I have that's living in London. And then I asked the person who had sent me the invitation if that would be okay. But in the interim, my friend responded that she would love to go. So I'm thinking, this is a win-win. I can't go. Somebody that I know and value, she can go. But little did I know that that wouldn't go over so well with the initial person that had invited me. As she said, this was a non-transferable invitation. But I'm thinking, but I don't get that. And my mom would have done the same thing. It was, oh well. Why wouldn't I send a friend that I knew would be good for if this person met her? Anyway.
That's enough.
My mother would have understood my intentions. I am proud and happy to embrace and carry on her tradition of breaking boundaries and making connections and spreading love. My mom was filled with adventure. Even when the body was not responding, her spirit did. And I met Nicole Chang, which she's here somewhere. Yeah, Nicole Chang and Denise Feskel and their daughter Ming-An and their son Ming-Wei. At first I met Nicole over email. And the next thing was that I was scheduled to do a workshop in Beijing. And it said to my mother, join me in China. And she countered with, we'll go on a river cruise. All right. So she came to China, we did the workshop, and we had all gone for foot massages. And I heard these shriek of the language that I did not speak and the horror of the person that was massaging my mother's legs as her towel was becoming brown. And there was a lot of commotion. And what it was is that my mother's spray tan covered her legs was coming off on this white towel. And the masseuse person thought somehow they had done something, quite horrible. So it was both hilarious and telling because my mother's zest for life and her willingness to travel so far and to cover up her various challenges, yes, was there. But that was it was a laugh for the moment. So she would travel to China not just for the sizzling dumpling soup, and I will miss that travel partner. And on our return, as we did not travel back together because she was going to Oregon to be at her grandson's graduation. So even after traveling that tremendous distance to meet me in China and have this trip, she had planned to go to Oregon. My mother was a force in the workplace and in the home. As I said before, she did not need to burn a bra to make her voice heard or her actions felt. She was a liberated woman before the term was invented. She just didn't know it. Her role as an ever-present, I will do anything for my children, husband, homemaker, community, leader, and volunteer will stay with me forever. I am well past grown. And I can only go on and in her name try and do good. My mother's greatest gifts are in this room. A godmother, Marion is here somewhere. A godmother, has always been there. Long time friendships, relationships. You're here. You are counted. And I recognize also those who followed and made special trips. I don't know how you got out of Beverly Hills and found Nevada, but good for you. For those that came to Nevada, and even more so for those who came to Sterling Court. And even if you didn't come, it's not a judgment at all. It's just a genuine recognition for those who went to Sterling Court at a time when my mother felt very isolated and very challenged. And to Phyllis, who traveled with my mom and dad, who made them laugh, and who visited her friend at a time when it was most challenging. I simply cannot put in words what it was to see Mrs. Parvin of Drury Lane on a twin cot in my mother's living room with me in a corner on the floor and the two dogs and my mother in her bedroom. But why would I be surprised that this lady would do that she would come to be with her friend on her birthday at a time when it was most needed? These two had a zest for life that was beyond compare, and that's priceless. And we thank you for opening your home and allowing this day to happen. So thank you very much. So, my friend Bess, who also came to Sterling Court, and a demonstration of friendship to attend the dim sum lunch where we are still trying to identify the steamed and wrapped and very unidentifiable food groups that we eat. But my mother liked dim sum. So, not to out anyone, but truly to celebrate, again, just a show of hands, if you were ever a guest in my parents' home at 2587 Hutton Drive, just a little, yeah, okay. And if you knew them for 10 years, 10, 20, 30, we're heading here to 50, 40 years of friendship, 50. I believe that, are we beyond 60? I don't know, do we have 60 here? I recognize my mother danced with Stan Flinkman before marriage, and again, we want to say, thank you so much for honoring her today. And so both of my parents, they lived life fully, and they loved life, and you certainly made their life worth living. So we want to say thank you, and shalom to Nathan and Lilian.
In gatherings of people into, well, this is quite a sukkah. Supposed to be able to see outdoors, and look, there's palm trees. It all works. So this would be doubly appropriate that we're gathered in a home of hospitality, and then to welcome everyone here. This is not a memorial service that has been completed and done. We'll say Kaddish on a regular basis, and at the end of the first year of mourning. The connection, strangely enough, is that my father died Erev Sukkot in 1990. That was on the Hebrew calendar, it's September 22nd at that moment, and then we are here at the end.
His father died in 1990.
2010. Just a math error. Just a small thing. Okay, not to frighten you. Okay, 2010. He passed away Erev Sukkot, and here we are at the end of the Festival of Sukkot, and we're gathered in both their memories. It's an apt way of putting it. And we're going to see a little video in which features a great many of you from their 50th and 50th?
That's something else, but this is the video for this.
This is the video. Oh, then my sister put together this montage of images
Yeah.
from their lives. So, the appropriate thing to do, though, is to recognize that this is exactly where my parents would like to have been. They'd like to have been with all of you. They would have liked to have heard my sister's words. They would like to have seen the family gathered. They would be thrilled to see their granddaughter Leora, and friends and family. My father would drive to the ends of the earth for a family gathering. Ends of the earth meaning Redlands. Seriously. And one of the last great family gatherings in his life was his 90th at Barbara and Larry's house. And then my mother coming, all of us actually being together for the last time in the LA for Lily's birthday a year ago. So the circles are all complete, and we have come full round. So I will just say one bracha, one blessing, because it's the appropriate one, which is, because it's not a memorial, it's a celebration. This is, in its own way, a Shechianu moment. It is, Shechianu is basically giving thanks that we've all arrived, and we're all this place at this time, and we're grateful to be alive. My father was not great on mourning. My mother was less great at mourning. They're both great at celebrating. So this is a celebratory moment, because you received the call, you arrived, we have wonderful hospitality, and so we are here at the right place at the right time. So the blessing is, we are grateful to the Creator of all things, that who sustained us and brought us and delivered us to this place at this time. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav. Once you do that, the rails go off the boat. So one more time. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu l'zman hazeh. And if you're in the room, you can say Amen. Amen. And we roll film.
Okay.